Choo-choo, here we go. We're on the Storytime Express. Jump with me, boys and girls, and hop on, because we have a magical adventure for you today. We are going to be talking about fairy tales. If you look out the window, watch carefully, because the unicorn's going to walk by. And then we have, there it is, there he goes. And then we have our castle. So fairy tales are these magical adventures. A lot of times there's enchantment, there's always happy endings. So let's see what stories we have today. The books I'm going to read you are a little bit different than the normal fairy tales that you may have heard before. So let's get right into our first book. The first one is The Princess and the Pea. Now you may have heard the story before, but this is going to be an African adventure of the Princess and the Pea. All right, here we go. The Princess and the Pea. Once upon a time, there was a prince. And the prince wanted to marry a real princess, and so he traveled all over the world in hopes of finding such a lady. He met many princesses, but it was difficult to tell whether they were a real one. Iska Waran. So this saying hello in a different of one of the African languages. Salam. Saying hello to this princess. Jambo Habari, saying hello to that princess. There was something about each princess, though, that was not just quite right. And so the prince came home again and was very sad. One evening there was a terrible storm, and suddenly there was a knocking heard at the gate, and the old king went to open it. There was a princess standing at the gate, but good gracious, what a sight the rain and the wind had made her look. And yet she said she was a real princess. "Ha ha, we shall soon find out whether she's real or not," said the queen. And so she went into the bedroom, where she laid a pea upon the bedstead, and then she took 20 mattresses and laid them on top of the pea, and then put 20 feather beds on top of the mattresses. There's that little pea right there. On this, the princess had to lie all night. The next morning, the princess was asked how she slept. "Oh, I slept badly," said the princess. "I scarcely closed my eyes all night. Heaven knows what was in that bed, but I was lying on something hard, so that I am black and blue all over." "Oh, that's horrible," said the king. Now they knew she was a real princess because she had felt the pea through the 20 mattresses and the 20 feather beds. Nobody but a real princess could be as sensitive as that. And so the prince took the princess for his wife. And the pea was put in a museum where it may still be seen today, if no one has stolen it. There you go. This is a true story. And so they lived happily ever after. Okay, so that was the story of the Princess and the Pea, but illustrated with the African characters. All right, let's do another story. And this one is the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, sort of. Okay, this is Jack and the Giant Barbecue. Let's see what happens to Jack in this story. Okay, so here's some barbecue sauce. It says, "Burning ring of fire, muy caliente, fry me a hide, woogie doggy, and I gee, wow." I don't know if I'd want any of those barbecue sauces at all. So once upon a time, there was a boy named Jack who loved barbecue. He would ride his pony across the mountains of West Texas for a taste of really fine ribs or sausage. One day, Jack asked his mother, "Ma, how come we ever have for dinner are beans and tamales? How come you never cook barbecue?" "I can't," Jack's mother told him. "Whenever I smell barbecue, I think of your daddy and I start crying all over again. I can't eat barbecue with a whole plate of tears." "What happened to Daddy? You never told me," Jack said. "Well, I guess you're old enough to hear the story," Jack's mother said, dabbing her eyes. "Your daddy made the finest barbecue in West Texas. He won every barbecue contest there was." Then, one day, a giant came along. He ate up all of our barbecue and stole Daddy's barbecue book, the one with his secret recipes. It broke Daddy's heart to lose that book. He just keeled over and died. And from then on, I can't stand to taste a barbecue again. Jack made a vow right there on the spot. "I'll find that giant wherever he is, and I'll take back my daddy's recipe book. If I don't do it, I may never taste barbecue again." Jack set out the very next day. All the storybooks said that giants live way above the clouds. The only way Jack knew to get that high was to climb Mount Pecos, the tallest mountain in West Texas. Jack rode his pony to the foot of the mountain, and then he began climbing. Jack climbed until he reached the mountaintop. He stepped onto the clouds and started walking. He soon began smelling something smoky and sweet, with just the right hint of vinegar and spices. Barbecue! Jack followed the barbecue smell, and it grew stronger and stronger. It led to a beat-up shack as big as a football field and as tall as a 10-story building. The sign on the front should have read, "Giant's Barbecue," but the G and the Q had dropped off long ago. Now all it said was, "Giant's Barbie." The rest of the place didn't look much better. Shingles were falling off the roof, the windows were broken, the door drooped on its hinges. The patio and the parking lot were a sea of trash. "A tornado hit this dump would be an improvement," said Jack. He pushed open the door and he walked inside. The inside looked even worse. Grease dripped from down the halls and down the walls, the rib bones on the carpeting. The floor crunched under Jack's boots as he stepped up to the counter. "Hello? Anybody home?" "Only me, lonesome and blue, unless you're looking for the giant, but I don't think you want to be here when he shows up." The voice came from the jukebox over in the corner. "The giant stole my daddy's recipe book," Jack told the jukebox, "and I aim to get it back. Will you help me?" "Count on me to stand by my man, or boy," said the jukebox. "I hate that giant. He promised me a mansion on the hill, said I'd be the happiest girl in the whole USA. Instead, I ended up somewhere over the rainbow. He won't even listen to my music anymore." The jukebox shed a tear. "I bet you know where your book is. It's tucked between my 45s in D slot 9. Jack climbed inside the jukebox, and he reached inside slot D9, and before he could get his fingers on the recipe book, he heard a pickup pull into the parking lot. A mighty big pickup truck. "It's the giant! You have got the tiger by the tail, boy," the jukebox told Jack. Jack hid behind the records. The shack's walls shook as the giant came stomping in, and he sniffed the air. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, a Texas boy has this way come. I'll dip him in salsa and pico de gallo. I'll swallow him down for Cinco de Mayo." "You're crazy," said the jukebox. "Crazy for thinking anybody would come in here. What you smell is trash. Why don't you just clean it up? It's giving me the honky-tonk blues." "Ah, be quiet and shut your tater trap," roared the giant. "I'll tell you what, I'm hungry, and what's for supper?" He opened the smoker and took out 2 sides of beef, 10 racks of ribs, and 50 feet of sausage. He washed everything down with 24 pitchers of sweet tea. The giant tossed his trash onto the floor and then leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes, and soon he was snoring like a summer thunderstorm. "Did you get the book?" the jukebox asked Jack. "I see it, but I can't reach it," Jack said. "I need more time." "Funny how time slips away. Better not be here when the giant wakes up," the jukebox said. "Now get me out of here, and you can look for it later." "How can I do that?" Jack asked. "These giant rib bones are the size of skis. The floor is slick with grease. Put me on a couple of those ribs and slide me out the door and give me a push. It'll be like skiing down Mount Pecos," the jukebox said. And so that's just what Jack did. He hopped on and off they went. "The race is on," sang the jukebox. About then, the giant woke up with a hankering for barbecue. "Where's my recipe book?" he growled. That's when he noticed that the jukebox was gone. He saw the rib bone tracks across the greasy floor leading to the cloud outside. It didn't take him long to figure out what happened. And when he did, he turned hotter than a pepper sprout. He jumped up into his pickup truck and went tearing across the clouds after Jack. But Jack and the jukebox were flying. They zoomed right through the hole in the cloud and slid down Mount Pecos all the way to the ground. The giant saw a hole, too, but he was going too fast to brake. That giant pickup truck rode through the clouds and smashed all the mountains in West Texas flat. And since then, West Texas has been as flat as a skillet all the way to New Mexico. As for Jack, he opened up his own barbecue shack. He serves the best barbecue in West Texas. The giant works for him. It was the only way he could get a decent barbecue. Ma waits tables and the jukebox plays Hank, Patsy, and Willie and all the greatest country hits. If you're ever in West Texas, drop by. It's not hard to find. Turn left when you see the sign and you can't miss it. Just look for Jack's Giant Barbecue. And there we go. Weird take on Jack and the Beanstalk, don't you think? All right, so fairy tales are something all kids need to know about. And so we have put together, over in the children's department, a fairy tale theme kit. So let's look and see what's inside this one. All right, so we have a fairy tale game. It's like a spot it game, I believe. I don't know, you'll have to open it up and see what the rules are, but there's a little game. You see the castle and the unicorns and the witch, okay, all the stuff that we find, dragons, all the stuff we find in fairy tales. And we have a fairy tale DVD that's got 6 different stories on it. And then we have all these books. So these are the classic fairy tales. The 3 Little Pigs, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, Little Red Riding Hood, The Elves and the Shoemaker, Chicken Little, Rumpelstiltskin, The Ugly Duckling, The Gingerbread Man, The 3 Billy Goats Gruff, and Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, so you can read that one and see the difference from the one I just read you. So those are many of our very common fairy tales. So come grab this theme kit. Just come to the children's department. Any of the librarians there can help you, and just look for the one that says fairy tales on the end. So I've got one more fairy tale to read you today. And this one is the weird take on Goldilocks. This one is Goldie Rocks and the 3 Bears. All right, let's see how this differs from the story that you might know. Goldie Rocks. Once upon a rock and roll time, 3 bears in a band jammed with ease. Then Papa Bear drummed and Mama Bear strummed, and the baby bear tickled the keys. But the band didn't have any fans yet, and Papa Bear figured out why. Though we all love to croon, we can't carry a tune. We can't hit the notes way up high. Look at the grasshoppers. They are giving a thumbs down. Poor bear band. So they set out to find a soprano. And soon after they left, a girl knocked. "Is that porridge I smell? Gee, that would be swell." She checked, and the house was unlocked. "A studio! Great balls of fire!" Amazed, Goldie raced through the door. She forgot about the food and was now in the mood to hurry on in and explore. Mama Bear's mic hit her elbow, and Pops reached the top of her head. But Baby Bear's was hiked just where she liked it. "I'll give it a whirl," Goldie said. She grabbed it and started performing, "Oh, doobie-wop, dum-diddy-doo." She was singing quite well, till she stumbled and fell, and the microphone stand broke in 2. So Goldie said, "I'll try the headphones." But Mama Bear's pair was too tight. Ouch. And Papa Bear's were too loose. Gee, these are no use, but Baby Bear's fit her just right. The tune was so catchy, thought Goldie, I'd love to be part of their band. The guitar was too twangy, the cymbals too clangy, the piano was perfectly grand. Exhausted from moving and grooving, she needed to catch a few Z's. This day's been a doozy, and I'm feeling quite snoozy. And she dozed off on Baby Bear's keys. In the meantime, the bears held tryouts, but no one had blown them away. The hare was too twitchy, the pigs were too pitchy, and Red was just simply okay. The family returned to their cottage, distressed from their lack of success. And when they saw inside, the mama bear cried, "Egads, what a terrible mess! Someone's been using my mic stand. Someone's been using mine too." And then Baby Bear spoke, "Oh no, my stand broke," and he started to sniffle, "Boo-hoo." Then Mama Bear looked at her headphones. "Oh, someone has tried my pair on." "Mine too," Papa growled. The parents both scowled, and Baby Bear cried, "Mine are gone." And then Papa said, "Who played the drum set?" And Mama said, "Who plucked my strings?" "Well, who's in my chair?" asked the littlest bear, "and she's drooling all over my things." Look at that. And they stared at the slumbering blonde girl, and Papa asked, who could she be? He disrupted her dream. She awoke with a scream, and the pitch was a perfect high C. The bears asked to hear the whole melody. Once Goldie recovered from shock, "Amazing," said Mom. Papa grinned, "You're the bomb," and Baby cried, "Goldie can rock." Together they wrote a new ditty. They practiced it into the night, and soon their new jingle became a hit single. Too hot, too cold, or just right. Their albums now topped all the rock charts. A countrywide tour has been planned. The fans scream and shout, and they're crazy about Goldie Rocks and the Great Three Bear Band. Well, wasn't that a really great fairy tale? Again, they have a very happy ending, like most fairy tales do. All right, thank you so much for joining me today on this fairy tale adventure on the Storytime Express. I'll see you again next time for another adventure right here. Join me soon. Bye.